what worked for SPT in that last game was the control of lanes with their globals. They did have Roll20 cornered in their base, trying to figure out the puzzle of SPT with those globals on Dragonshire. So that, in that respect, was working for them. The problem is a couple of kills amounted to taking a fort with the Dragon Knight, and then a couple of more kills late game was enough that then the respawn timers start becoming more of a problem for SPT, and that Roll20, when they recognize that, they never let go from that. So let's see how SPT fares on the battleground choice of Roll20 as we go into Game 2 on Infernal Shrines.
Genji looked very good there for Roll20. Dansky bringing that out. Lots of close escapes. Reinvigorated with an Ancestral and going back for some more. Getting a lot of important kills. Never getting called out all too much, and so that was enough for SPT to say no more.
ETC up. Roll20 feeling the need to ban Tassadar, an understandable need. It's Infernal Shrines. He gives a lot to the wave clear in the 1-4, to the shrine clear 2. He enables a lot of heroes that SPT love playing as well. So Sonya, Chen Xiao's Vala. It's a good pick for SPT, but so too is ETC.
Roll20 now with the double pick. Traditionally, they would go with the support, Greymane. Has been Rhaegar before. Lucio, actually they liked Lucio before it was cool. I mean, before when Rhaegar was still the #1, so not too surprised with that. You can go with the Dahaka style on Infernal Shrines, but generally taking that early gives away much of the rest of your play. And he has some pretty significant counterplays as well, presumably Illidan. Roll20 goes with Lucio Greymane.
Greymane gives more of the shrine clear, as well as just the well-rounded ranged assassin of the hour, it seems. So many different damage types, has the potential burst setup to make ETC's life hell with the Accursed Bullet or the Gap Closer for a backline too. So it keeps Roll20 very open, but still making sure that they get a strong support along with them with Lucio. Next 2 picks for SPT. Sonya, still going to be picked, and then another Rhaegar.
Okay, so we have the Lightning Shield and the Whirlwind for a really good cursed minion clear around the shrine. SPT is set in that department. They have a strong front line as a single support that can deal with the entire supporting of a team. And SPT will be looking at 2 damage dealers as a flex in the final 2 positions.
Roll20 generally plays double support on Infernal Shrines. They have throughout the group stage. So I'm wondering if that will maintain into this game too. With a high Lucio, it still leaves that option open. And the Vala ban, very standard given that they already have Greymane.
Yeah, very logical ban it would be. SPT can of course bring out mages, but there's too many different ones to ban. If you want to ban out an auto attacker like Vala, who can put a lot of punishment on front lines, chase and confirm kills, she and Greymane are the ones in that role to the most degree.
Yeah, when you talk about mages, that's not as much Chen Xiao's cup of tea. Roll20 may not know that, it just depends how far down they go, but Vala is way more his favorite pick, so it's sort of an extra hit to SPT to have that Vala banned.
Now Roll20 has a secret weapon here. They can bring out the Diva. They may bring out the Diablo again. I know Justin is a great Diablo player. And it's pretty good at level 16 against warriors, 13 and 16. Does a lot of percentage damage.
There's only been the one Breeze Diablo yet this tournament, right?
Yes, 1 Breeze Diablo.
Now Roll20 used to love to combo that with Medivh, but less Medivh play from them as of late.
I like the Ragnaros ban. But very much a staple for Roll20 on 2 maps. Braxas Holdout, Infernal Shrines. Maybe 2 with the Spider Queen, those 3.
Now do we see if there is the double support? Junkrat has made an appearance for Dansky on this map before. Has he been in any of the games so far of the knockout stage?
I don't think so.
Not
even once. I think everyone looked at the statistics.
Yeah, 33%, right?
Pretty low. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's been low. He was universally popular among all teams, and then it didn't end up winning that much anyway. And it's mostly because of the rise of the Punishers. I'm not talking about the Infernal Shrine Punishers, but things like Zeratul to kill him easy peasy. He's got great escape, but it takes a second for him to set up an escape, and Zeratul can just chase with Vorpal Blade.
Yeah, and with more Zeratul coming in, more Genji, more and more being played. The Mage comes out, but it's for roll 20, getting Gul'dan. And then Arthas again.
Yeah, Gul'dan actually not a great matchup into what SPT has so far. In order to get close enough to do a significant corruption, ETC is within power slide range. Sonya and ETC are quite chunky, so they don't take as much damage, but you can never truly argue against Gul'dan because he's got Horrify. And because he just does so much damage in general that despite the lack of percentage damage, you can still burn through warriors. But it's it's potentially risky. And Roll20 might be looking at a 5th person there to add additional safety, be it Diva, Tyrael, or a 2nd support.
Now, Horrify will be really good as SPT try to go in with the Sonya and ETC, trying to make him more survivable. Also extremely good in the rotations of wave clear, trying to push those lanes early, get some early damage done to towers. And then, of course, the Shrine Clear is added. Roll20 has a lot of Shrine Clear, but SPT brings back their Jaina. It's popped up here and again for Xin Xiao.
I love these double picks by SPT so much. I was thinking maybe Chromie for Burst. Jaina follows that as well and is more suitable for SPT as a team. And then you also take away the Tyrael, arguably the best protection against what SPT is bringing. We've got Power Slide, Mosh, Leap, Ring of Frost, Sanctification combination possibility. It's pretty insane, and I'm loving the draft that SPT is bringing out. I don't know if Diva's going to be enough to provide safety here, or Uther, or Medivh for that matter. They can protect 1-2 targets, but everybody? Maybe you want to take the fight back to SPT, but there's such a... I mean, that's a triple warrior comp, by the way.
Yeah, but there's also Horrify against the triple warrior.
It's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Cannot be disrupted. Now, if Horrify gets interrupted, it doesn't go on a long cooldown of 10 seconds. You can cast it again, but you might be dead by then.
Yeah, I think you're definitely dead by then. And then the Jaina. Oh, I'm very excited for this comp. Johanna gives more sturdiness to the front line of Roll20.
I'm really not sure how I feel about that. Johanna can bring people together with Condemn, allowing for potentially a bigger Horrify, a bit of auto attack damage block with the evasion, with the blind. But SPT is not an auto attacker team. They are mostly spell damage. And so bringing out Johanna here, who has a physical armor built in to her kit, to me is a little strange.
Well, let's talk about the Jaina, since it's only popped up a couple of times for a couple of different teams, but it's mostly SPT who does bring her out. We saw her even in the series versus Roll20 with an Abathur on Towers of Doom. Here she's going to give a lot of wave clear. She has a great amount of burst damage, even as early as level 1 because of her trait. And the slows between her and Arthas, oh, nope, other side. The slows between her and then the slows of Rhaegar and the control of ETC. Sonya should have a heyday, but Johanna gives some more interrupts, at least for Sonya's whirlwinding. There's not a whole lot of that otherwise, and for me it does come down to how Horrify and Sound Barrier is used, and if that's enough to stop SPT.
Yeah, and also the Blessed Shield. You know, Johanna can shrug off that slow trait of Jaina with the Iron Skin, with the Unstoppable. Maybe try to single out Rhaegar or Jaina with the Blessed Shield. Let Greymane jump in together with the Sound Barrier. But with the single support situation that we have here for Roll20, no cleanse against Power Slide, Ring of Frost, and Sonya, I really fear for Roll20. And you know, I think I think SPT won this draft, not just by a little bit, but with a landslide. Hope to be wrong, at least for Roll20, but pretty excited for what SPT has here.
Yeah, you hope to be wrong for Roll20's sake, but then again, it would be great to have SCO 1-1 into Game 3, so we get more games from this series.
Exactly.
The hype match, well, really, we thought this would be the hype match of the day, but CE and BTG proved otherwise. Another thing I'm concerned about for Roll20 is that with both Arthas and Johanna, engaging can be tricky for them, but Lucio does at least help with that, giving them some more movement speed. But maybe seeing some more Goku flanks from the side to make sure that he can get in. Though, granted, I think SPT will be doing enough engaging for the both of them with their comp, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. You know, Sonya has always been so fantastic against Johanna as well, just because of the type of damage that comes out. Low health pool Johanna, especially against auto attack. She's suitable. Very strong team here. Now let's talk about the laning and the wave clear. SPT is great in that department as well. Rhaegar, Sonya and Jaina are all the wave clear you'll need. And on the other side, Gul'dan, Greymane and Arthas are also good wave clear. So that part is fairly even.
That hold your ground talent, giving the extra shielding and the cooldown reduction from Iron Skin, it's going to be important for Justing if he is to be the one to take a lot of the brunt of the harassment from SPT. Roll20 trying for a safe laning setup for what they have so far. Looks like a 2-2-1. See if anybody joins Johanna in the bottom, or if she's just going to stay very safe against the power slide and then the Jaina follow-up. Here's the first instance of that. Ancient Spear is perfect. SPT claims first blood.
Yeah, pretty big mistake by Dainsky there. Did not have the vision, risked it anyway. Thought they're probably not here. Was wrong, did die. Wanted to get those stacks on the corruption.
You know what's funny to me? Isn't that the exact same bush that SPT's Misaka got ganked by Team Dignitas at the beginning of their Infernal Shrines game?
Yeah, but wait, was SPT just in the left side bush?
Yes.
Yeah.
Learning. The adaptation is there.
Now, in theory, if the power slide was stopped by Lucio, and I don't think it was, he would still be fine. But the poison of the ancient spear came out as well.
That gives SPT the first kill, but far be it from the game, as the first shrine is about to activate. What is the setup here for Roll20? If they're trying to make sure that they have their defensive cooldowns, you may just want to try to give this one up.
Nice peel for Goku by Justin. Gonna be getting away. Yeah, who needs this shrine more? I feel like Roll20 probably needs it a little bit more. They also need their stacks on Gul'dan in order to ramp up in damage.
Right.
So they would like to have a skirmish. Roll20 gets in position for it, not surprisingly.
Maybe just a skirmish, but not truly for the fight unless they just happen to see someone out of position, because Greymane's not here yet.
Yeah, he follows Jaina fairly fast. Curious coming down as well, recognizing that. Goku gets attacked here, instantly blown up. Power slide, Blizzard, maximum damage.
Melody C did so much just to distract the rest of Roll20 from the side that there was no way that Justin was going to be able to get any assistance from Roll20, or Goku was going to be able to get assistance from the rest of Roll20. And that sends Cure straight back to the top lane, just making sure that he's laning back and forth, keeping up with that so that the experience stays mostly even for Roll20. And yeah, just using that shrine as an opportunity to build up Echoed Corruption.
Looks like Johanna got Eternal Retaliation, right? I believe the movement speed is red. And so gonna be making use of Lucio's movement speed, sacrificing her own, giving her more disruption.
Right. This is Justin's preferred build. I'm pretty sure even without Lucio, likes to have the cooldown reduction a lot more for Condemn over having the Conviction movement speed. But it kind of does slow down your ability to engage, not having Conviction and the movement speed from that.
Right.
He gets Fanaticism at 16, which gives him more opportunities for that, but obviously he will need to make use of Lucio, since you don't want to wait until 16 to be able to take a fight versus your opponents.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty long wait.
And Blessed Shield, of course, helps with that too.
Let's see. Roll20 is in position to defend in every lane. I'm trying to think what they can actually do here, and I think until they get Cursed Bullet, no one on SPT is remotely killable, unless Chen Xiao on Jaina is horribly out of position. So I feel like Roll20 has to play it very passively.
Do you think it'll be Cursed Bullet, or do you think we'll see Go for the Throat as a way of executing on whoever gets low from the poison damage of Gul'dan?
I think it's going to be Cursed Bullet in this case. Just these kind of fights, they can go a little bit longer if you can at all survive the initial onslaught of SPT. And Go for the Throat may never get an opportunity because there's so many tanky warriors in front. Unless you had a very easy executable plan to go for Rhaegar, for example, Judgment or what's it called, Falling Sword, then I could see a reason to go for the Throat.
All right, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it could be making use of Horrify to do a split and kill someone with Go for the Throat. Quite possible too, of course.
Yeah, everything from Roll20 just feels like survive. Survive everything from SPT and then maybe use the chaos that follows from that to get a kill. But SPT, like in the last game, starting to pull it ahead in the rotations, at least controlling the lanes enough. The Roll20 plays on the back foot. Another Shrine activating in 6 seconds. It'll be here in the mid. And SPT are setting up.
Roll20 had the ability to maybe set a trap to stop the obvious rotation to defend the Fallen Bruiser camp. But they felt like they had to get the experience from the bottom lane as well. So very by the book play, but not very surprising. Allowing SPT to do exactly what they need to without any threat of reprisal. Nor is Roll20 taking a lead on the Shrine.
No, instead keeping a lot of SPT here, but as long as... Oh, they are bringing Johanna up, so they're ready to take this fight before SPT gets to heroic abilities. Kir jumps in with Dark Flight, doing some damage.
This means that Roll20 has a short period of time where Power Slide and Blizzard are not available. They should be trying to make use of this time in order to gain a greater lead and to push around their weight a little bit. Power Slide is coming back. It's back now. That's a big threat. A lot of people are lined up. Blizzard comes out.
Yeah,
good skeleton count by Roll20 though.
33 to the 29. It's pretty close between the teams.
But don't group up for the Power Slide.
Oh, Justing's getting low. Doesn't have Iron Skin anymore. There is the Power Slide, and it does spell the end of Johanna, but the corruption damage is severe from Dansky. Unfortunately for Roll20, they can't capitalize any more from that. They will lose a second kill, losing their Arthas. SPT picks up the Punisher and heroic abilities.
Yeah, I think if Roll20 did a bit more of a split, 2 to the top, 2 to the bottom, despite not being able to make use of Lucio's healing, they would have a better chance to convert their something like 8 skeleton lead into at least the Punisher, even if that means you lose 1 or 2 members. The way they grouped up, they definitely set up for the worst of both worlds, unable to reach the skeletons and also setting up for that Power Slide. Keep in mind that this is what I think is a very tilted draft, but in order to get the best of that situation, I believe that was the best opportunity there.
And SPT recognized that they could go for that because the Blizzard had forced Iron Skin to be used from Johanna. Now, because of the Punisher and the 10 advantage, SPT will take out 1 fort and set them up to bring down more structures of Roll20. Heroic abilities online for the North American team. Still a consideration of what we're going to go with Greymane, but Kir ends up picking up Cursed Bullet.
Big move here by Roll20. Cursed Bullet, not used yet. Slightly too late arrival by Roll20 to call it a proper creep jack.
SPT heads to their Khazra on their side. No invasion though from Roll20.
The interrupt that are available on Mosh Pit aren't that many. You've got Johanna with Condemn and Horrify, and Lucio if he gets the boop as well. Blessed Shield. Half of that is in Heroics and the other is in Lucio and Johanna. So it will be entirely up to Lucio probably in order to anticipate that perfectly. Nice. Cursed Bullet on Soap. Ancestral Healing comes out. Horrify only on Rhaegar. In comes the Mosh Pit.
Mosh Pit is zoning away. Ring of Frost goes down too. Gul'dan's the first to fall, and maybe more to go along with him as Kir hopes to juke and jive around and get himself out of danger. Now Bud's doing the same with the wall ride. Only the Gul'dan lost, but SPT smells blood in the water, chasing in. Maybe setting up to do some more structural damage here in the bottom lane.
And they kind of need to. SPT has a very long heroic cooldown problem here. When they use them and they get a single kill, they must get a fort out of it. Otherwise, they will not be able to contest something 40, 50, 60 seconds down the road because those heroic cooldowns aren't available. Getting that fort was important, and there was a moment where Roll20 could have done that in the last game as well. SPT does do it, they get the fort, and they can now set up for the skeletons immediately. Very advantageous position for them. And Roll20 would likely try to do top pressure. They have 2 choices. Fallen Bruiser plus fort or just the fort.
That was an advantage that SPT needed to get, given that they brought down their top laner, bringing down Tyrael away from Arthas. Otherwise, it was possible that Roll20 could try to climb ahead in experience from that. But taking out the fort, getting the kills that they got, the cleanse and ancestral healing to keep Sonya alive, and then the immediate follow-up, the ETC play, the location of Mosh Pit, really good for them, even without having Sanctification or the Cleanse because it had to be used. SPT just played that beautifully, and because of that, they have a setup now for doing a lot more damage. They're holding on to the Shrine to get more and more advantages out on the board.
Yeah, generally there can be a number of reasons, right, to 39 Skeleton, and it's such a cool strategy to see that coming out. You do it generally when lanes are pushed against you and you must respond first, or you want to first get a crucial talent lead. Ironically here, SPT is holding while giving talent equality to Roll20. I feel like they're slightly misusing the technique of this objective delay, allowing Roll20 to respond, get 13, and defend far more easily.
At this point, though, they have all of their heroic abilities back up. Maybe the ploy is to catch somebody who's soaking. Nope. They realize that they were not getting anything like that. The best thing they have is they have that top push along with the push with the Punisher too. But Roll20 uses that time to get 13 and to get one camp of their own.
Yeah, I think it's what you said, that mosh pit coming back. They want to have that available to have this massive big team fight. It's important for SPT here to kill the sidewall immediately so that they can follow up on the Punisher. They actually are not doing that, which doesn't allow ETC to threaten, and it allows Roll20 to pile on lots of damage on the Punisher very freely. I
thought that maybe that meant they weren't going to go for anything more than just the wall. But with Melody C coming in, throwing out that Eldruin, and Soap going in, they looked like they had every intention of attacking, and this might be the prime opportunity. This is the best opportunity for Roll20 to try to take this fight now. Ancestral is forced.
Yeah, Curse Bullet and Ancestral are out, but Roll20 is holding on to all other heroics. They're threatening and chasing, but are not using Blessed Shield or anything of the like.
That was a Howling Blast. The face melt from Misaka was perfect. He knew that Jesting was coming in for that Blessed Shield. And that's the issue with Johanna, right? If she is not in the position to get the force from that, it's pretty easy for people to walk away from the fight. SPT is coming back in to fight this, even though they don't have the 16 advantage.
Yeah, very cool steal. Ring of Frost hits 3 people.
It does. Sound Barrier's keeping them alive for now. Tyrael goes down. This is the first kill for Roll20. Sonya falls too. Arthas will go down, making it a 1-for-2 in favor so far.
Wow.
Wow.
This was such a good fight by Roll20. Amazing that they won this one. Gilday and Tactile Corruption. ETC. Wow. The healing fountain and the guitar solo, keeping him alive against the poison damage. I cannot compliment Roll20 enough for this entire sequence of events. From holding on to their heroics as they were chasing, they held on to their discipline, not using any of it too soon. Recognizing 13v16 is the best fight we're going to be having for a very long time to come. They take the Impalers, but there was a panic moment. SPT comes in and tries to steal their lunch money. Roll20 defense, even powering through, I want to say powering through Sanctification, but it was never used, was it?
No Sanctification. Maybe it was booped out.
I think it got either interrupted by the Soundwave or by the Horrify, but Roll20 came out of that very well.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was flabbergasted as to why SPT even took that fight in the first place. They were not 16.
Yeah.
They were 15.5 against 13.
We gotta have that camp.
Of Roll20 for a camp where they had a fort. I am a little confused why that happened. And
now, let's say if they got Sanctification off, right?
Okay.
We would see SPT take a keep out of that. Right? They win that fight with Sanct, they get a keep, so it's definitely allowed.
Risk versus reward for sure. Cure
Ring of
stays
Frost
alive for a little bit with the Ring of Frost there, though. No way, no how. This time a Sanctification is used, keeping SPT alive for much longer as they put the pressure, put the hurting onto Goku.
Wow, Goku stays alive, does not get wholly grounded out either. Corruption slightly off the mark, had the potential to take out Melody C there. Wow, yeah. You know, I do agree with you. In terms of playing the odds, SPT there at the bottom camp made a bit of a mistake, maybe in that sense.
But that's also with us. Hindsight, right?
Yeah, that's with hindsight. Sanct goes off again. They get a keep, maybe the game out of that. So it was a worthwhile gamble for them in that sense. Meantime, next fight happens. Oh my god, another camp being stolen by SPT. This time Holy Ground is available. Moshpit comes out.
Does get stopped. Oh, that Ancestral Healing was pretty from ZZH. Melody C did not have Sanctification this time. SPT having those longer cooldown timers, but still having Ancestral Healing, felt like they still could fight, and they're rewarded with that camp. Getting the camp, have the setup.
Roll20 with the flank. They recognize the delay, and they do not want to let this happen. Moshpit is gone. They have no threat, no fear. Fanaticism, Johanna with the chase. Blessed Shield comes out. Roll20 is out for blood.
Twins saves ETC. Now Melody C is under fire with Blessed Shield down. Arthas not quite into position. SPT backs off. Roll20 gets onto the shrine, but it's this is going to be really hard to zone away. The zoning has to be clear out at the base of SPT if Roll20 are going to stop SPT from getting this last skeletal defender.
Yeah, set up that 360 CCTV,
Xiao.
guard the perimeter, but there's also the chance to get some kills. Sonya off the camera gets taken out.
Roll20, no, they can't get the Punisher, but they'll at least try to get the kills. This Punisher is...
You know,
that was a little scary.
Roll20 can let this go, pretend to go defend it, and do another flank. They have a 5 versus 4 situation, but they decide to play it safe. They don't want to lose a keep or even half a keep. An unsupported Punisher will still do much damage, especially the arcane one. And they have a unique opportunity to take down this Punisher without almost any threat, while Arthas plays for value in the bottom lane, getting more experience. Oh.
Punisher dealt with.
Roll20 rotating up top. Will SPT overstay? Misaka is taking damage from the fort. That means he's being slowed.
He has the power slide still to get away. Buzz is coming in. He will have a dismount here. Blessed Shield follow up. Johanna in position, slowing down with the 80% slow thanks to that level 7 talent. Still nobody quite ready to follow up from that. And Melody C made it there faster as a rotation, keeping Goku in the bottom.
Really good game so far. Roll20 has a very good understanding of what kind of fights they need to be taking. And this draft that looks to me so weak against SPT's draft somehow is working. Johanna as the prime ETC interrupt tool with her decent amount of misplacement with that condemned, that repeated eternal retaliation. It's working out much better than expected. SPT still has a chance to do a massive wipe though. That threat of Mosh Pit, Ring of Frost remains very scary.
Yeah, I feel like Roll20 have been very patient with their heroic abilities, especially the long ones of Army, but Horrify 2 and then Sound Barrier. They know that this is a defensive composition, and it's set up so that they can try to defend versus what SPT has, an incredibly aggressive composition. So as long as they are staying patient, and it's scary to play that way, especially if you see somebody low and you want to try to get that kill. But they understand their win condition, and that is how they have been able to stay in this game. They are just even structurally, they're even in the experience too. SPT has more kills. That is a product of that composition.
Now Roll20 is forced to respond to mid and bottom. That means that SPT gets free vision and distraction of the opponent. They can use this in one of two ways. Try to attack Roll20 where they least expect it, somewhere around here, or to push top forward. If they do neither, I would amount that to a pretty massive misplay, and I feel like it is. They're gonna go for the Punisher, they're gonna go for the trap, the vision play, but there was no reason for Roll20 to be here. So these somewhat traps here, this anchoring, this zoning that SPT was doing will amount to nothing, and top forward will remain still alive. And that means no level 20 advantage for SPT yet. It could possibly be the biggest power play. Double Impaler, straight top forward, arrive here by the time Roll20 has 10 skeletons, and SPT would be very close to 20. But this is a full-blown team fight on equal terms. Keep watch of Misaka. Power Slide Mosh as the major threat here.
Nice from Melody C. Holy Ground. This forces Iron Skin to be used. Power Slide on Goku. Ring of Frost 2. Goku dodges the outer area going inside, but Sanctification trying to enable further. Misaka drops down the Mosh Pit, but Horrify stops that out. Roll20 are doing this. As I say that, they lose Arthas, so maybe they're not doing this. SPT takes out Arthas.
Yeah, it's a one-man mosh pit into the Horrify to interrupt it, but not enough follow-up damage in order to take down the targets that were running towards them. Roll20 lose this fight, put out a little bit more damage, and will try to use the time that they have here to clear out mid, take fall on Bruiser, defend top forward, and get level 20. And then they can defend their bottom keep, but they'll be down a man. By the time the Punisher arrives, Arthas will be 15 seconds in the body bank, give or take. And SPT will try to make use of that to take down the first keep of the game.
Ice Blink for Qin Xiao's Jaina. See how he wants to use that. You can get a chill on someone aggressively, and then I believe that is Numbing Blast that he has. So then getting the root from that too, but there is quite a good amount of lockdown from SPT already. The Punisher baited, the keep goes down, SPT steps forward as Roll20 prepares for the defense of the game.
Justin goes down instantly. Does not use his Iron Skin. Ring of Frost hits Lucio.
Goku chasing all the way down, just trying to get this kill on Jaina, but Chinchao lives for the moment, does eventually fall. That is the primary damage dealer, but there's still a Sonya that has to be dealt with. The Punisher jumps back in. Lucio falls, Horrify being used, not in time to save Lucio, but just to stave off the aggression of SPT. And with Greymane going down, there is only one person left, and that is Dansky. SPT aggressively moves forward and works on the core. There is just a Tyrael, an ETC, and a Rhaegar, but there's also the Punisher here, and still just the Gul'dan.
Yeah, and he's just got rooted actually by the Punisher, and of course he doesn't have the damage to take down a full HP ETC. Moshpit is available, Gul'dan gets taken out, and we have a series on our hands. SPT takes the second map against Roll20 with some great heroic synergy. Jaina coming out once again, sees very little play in competitive play, let alone Gold Club World Championship, but SPT continues to bring her out, and this time to great effect.
Yeah, SPT able to use their own meta, things that have been working for them in scrims within their own region, and get a win against the North American team of Roll20 to tie up the series 1-1. A brief momentary lapse in the sort of proactive play that we had heralded when they played versus Fnatic on that very same battleground to get a victory, but only for a second. They made it back down in time, got the one kill on Goku, even through the long sustained fight when it seemed like maybe things weren't going so well for them because Roll20 was living through, but being able to catch out Goku, having their own defensive cooldowns now that Sonya was into the later game, they were able to make it through, they get that kill, and then start the inevitable end push to tie up the series.
Yeah, great last fight there by SPT. I do think that probably Goku needs to cycle back to the fight a little bit more in that particular situation, because he already used his survivability. You've only got the one Lucio support, and then your main damage dealer happens to be a sustain mage damage dealer. So cycle back out, wait for those big heroics to pass away of SPT, and then try to re-engage and get some good value, because there was no threat of the Punisher yet, and one death would mean Punisher to SPT.
I think what was so cool from SPT looking at the drafting is they have been trying to do some of the same adaptive drafting that we see from teams like Ballistics, but to varying success. Things like the Falstad to switch up for the solo lane. That worked for them versus CE, but some other things like the Jaina on towers before didn't work out for them versus Roll20. But here, the punishment